So we are going to continue from where we stopped, and here is where we stopped anyway. It's looking really good. Okay, let me just quickly say this. These bushes here, these shrubs, they are looking, like box 6. So if you want them to look, quite like this, all you need to do is to select, them and scroll down here. Scroll down until you see display, viewport display. You'll see that previous type. Previous means that before you render. So it is actually box. You can change it to dots. You can change it to many things. Box, wire box. It will look like this. Or full. So if you want it to be full, it's like this. You can see, but it's a little bit heavy, so it's always better to put it in something that will not give you too much stress. Maybe like point cloud. Point cloud is nice. I think I'm going to maintain point cloud. So that's for that. Now I don't want many of these trees because I want to do something else. Before I place any other element, I'm going to actually start the rendering process. So I'm going to start lighting first. And to start lighting, I'm going to start with, daylight system with vegetation. Now, vegetation and sky can give you, quite a lot of good lighting that we need. You don't really need much than that. So I'm going to select create sun under the toolbar, the video toolbar. Then I can just drag and drop the sun. Then it's asking a question: would you like to automatically add various sky environment map? So the most important thing here is that it wants to add the sky to the sun, because you cannot have the sun without the sky. So that's just the bottom line here. So you click yes. So it's saying that there is one there already. So what would you like to do? So what is there already is from Revit. There is the sun and sky from Revit. So that's what is giving us that white background when we loaded Revit in. So we are going to just replace it by clicking yes. So now we have the sun in place, and we can just click on this icon, which is the frame buffer. It's going to come like this. Then you can definitely start rendering by pressing the render on the interactive rendering. So it's loading. Now in this case, the render is a little bit slow, and the reason is because I'm running 3ds Max and I'm also running the application that is recording, so it takes a little bit of time. One of the things I want you to quickly note is that we added the sun, but the environment is very dark. Also, I want you to note something. If I move my mouse here, my cursor here rather, you can see that we're having different render output entirely. And if I click here, we are having something different. So what is happening is that anywhere your cursor is where video will render. So how do you control this? I want it to be rendering this view alone, this viewport alone. So I'm going to go to render setup by clicking on the setup here, and I'm going to come to view to render. You can see view to render I make sure that I'm in this view and I will lock it. So now anywhere I am, it's going to only render this viewport. We have done that. I like to make things simple, from the beginning. So I will double click on this point here and make this VFB frame buffer rather. Yeah, I'll make it simple, nothing too much, no much setting yet. Then the reason it's dark is because if we go just like our camera, the sun is actually low at the horizon. So if you want it to be brighter, you will need to raise this sun, and the more you raise it, the much more illumination you have. Now let's talk again. This is mimicking real life situation where you have sunrise and sunset. One of the things I don't like for now when I'm working is to have distraction, especially coming from materials. So what I'm going to do is I will need to override the material, and there's a simple way to do it. It is just by coming to this icon here. It's called IPR debug shading. If you hold onto it, you're going to see options, and in the options you see lighting. I select it, and automatically it override every material with a gray material. So what this gives me is the total control, not to see how the objects are interacting with light. I just want to see pure light. And now this is looking good, but we need to set the angle, the perfect angle that we want. And to be very, very honest, I think I'm okay with this. It's just that if we check our project file, our project reference, you're going to see there are some specific angles that I followed and all that. So I still want to follow those things a little bit, so I wrote them down again. If not, I'm okay with this. To be honest, I did not plan this particular placing of the sun, and it's looking really, really perfect for me. Why? And how do I mean? Some of the things that I look for when I am doing rendering or setting the lighting is, especially for daylight, I look at the angle of the sun, how the shadow is coming in, and what it is creating in the image. In this particular image, it's giving me that depth that I need. A shadow here, defining the building structure the way it is. So I'm very, very okay with it. But there is one problem, and this problem I think I solved it initially, but I reset 3ds Max, so I will need to quickly show you before we continue. If you click on this display correction, you are going to see that we are on OCIO, and the reason is here on the color management that I set before, it is on now OCIO. I supposed to put it on gamma workflow. So it's loading. So now I can close. I'm on gamma workflow. Save as default. Yes. Okay. And close. When you do that, you will need to come to this color display correction as well and set it to sRGB. Now the image is not dark again, it is actually brighter. You can see the difference. So make sure you set the two like that and enable save RGB primary conversion to image. So once you do all these three, you are very good to go. So now that we have done that, the image is now getting, quite obvious. But like I told you, I'm going to set it the way it was set before. It's just because of some small nuances like this shadow and all that. So I want to set it exactly how I set it before. And I wrote them down here, trying to see it. So for the x-axis, I have 87,925.289. So that's the position of the sun on the x-axis. Let me collapse this again. On the y-axis, I have 131,443.43. Now I don't know if the minus in front is there or not, but I'm going to leave it like that and see. Yeah, I guess it's there. I guess it's there because I've seen the direction it's going and it's giving me what I actually envisage. So the last one, which is the z-axis, is 146,408.406. Remember that this is not compulsory. It's just because like I told you on the camera, when I was setting this, there is no I was not imputing any figure there. I was just trying playing with the angles until I am able to get this. But because I want to replicate this particular angle of the sun, so I had to write it down so that I will input it. So it's not compulsory for you to actually do that. The first lighting that I did here, I told you I like it, but it's because I want to mimic this. That's why I'm setting that. And also, actually, even though it doesn't look like it matters here, but I'll still try and do it. The sun target too actually has its own position. So for the y-axis is 7929.544, and for the x-axis is 17,640.736. So that's just it. If you notice, it's almost like there's no difference, but I'm trying to replicate what I've done before. So now on the z-axis is 0, so I leave it there. Another thing I did before we continue is, if you notice around there, this icon here is for window region rendering. So now if you notice it here, you can see the shadow is quite cool. But if I bring it here and I select the sun, I come to modify tab to see the properties of the sun. I'm not really changing anything about this. I just want to change the size multiplier, so I'm going to set it to 3. And you see the difference. You see that if you zoom to it, see this shadow now, it is much more softer. We have much more pixels around here than here. So this one is more sharper, this one is softer. So you should be careful about it, but I mostly use 5. And you can see how it looks so natural. So it's like the sun is filtered through the cloud, even though we don't have the cloud yet. Another thing you can do on the sun is to set the cloud. So if you scroll down, you are going to see clouds and you can enable it. Unfortunately, I can't remember the value that I set because I was not writing everything that you get. I can't remember the value that I set for the cloud, but I can play with it and let's see. So let's do 0.6. It means that we have much more clouds. If you notice in this image, I don't have many clouds. I just deliberately don't want too much cloud. So we can actually play with the density multiplier, maybe like 5, maybe like 3.3 or thereabouts. You get the idea. So maybe I should change this to 0.5, just to have something little like that. But one of the setting that I like to use very well is the Cyrus amount. It's on 0.2 now, and I can put it to 1. And you can see what it's doing. It's giving me that upper layer of the cloud. I like to use it, but I don't like to have too much of it as well. So I'm going to put it on like maybe 0.7 or maybe 0.5. Yeah, 0.5 is okay for me. It's not too much. And if you notice here, it is there, but not too much all around here. So now that's for that. The next thing for me to do is to bring the other stuffs in first. So let me bring the other buildings, the buildings and some other components to it. One of the things that I need to bring in is this shrub here. So that shrubs, let us open here. The Cosmo is again a type shrub. Box tree or something. I think box tree. Oops. I don't know the name again, but that's not a problem. Let's just use shrub. I can scroll down and get it. Oh, I'm under trees. That's why I'm supposed to be under shrubs. So these are shrubs, and I can scroll down. What I'm looking for is towards the end of the display. So let's look for it and bring it in. So yeah, I can use this, but I guess this was the one that I used. So let me bring it in by clicking on this green icon, and here we go. Now I would say if your system is not big enough, at this point you may need to actually stop interactive rendering so that 3ds Max will not crash. But it can crash anytime, even if you are not doing this. Just like this, you can see that this object is very, very big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it. It is a proxy already. Every element that you have in Cosmos, they are proxies, so they are mesh. You don't need to convert them to mesh again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just right click on. So this is what I did. I right click on the scale, and I change the scale the off-screen scale to 10, and it reduces all this to 10. Now I'm having 100% of 10 units. So that's there, and I can move it. So you can see that everything is slow, and I just hope it will not even affect the audio, because it's a little bit lagging now. So I'm just going to stop the rendering so that I'll be able to move things the way I want as quick as possible. So I'm going to place it here, and go to the front view by pressing F on the keyboard. I can't see it very well, so I press Alt and I hold down to the middle mouse button, and with Alt and the middle mouse button, I'm able to actually orbit around the screen. I'll press F3 to change it to default shading, and I'm going to drag it up there. It seems like it's still small, so maybe I can scale it up a little bit. So the shortcut for scale is R. Now pardon me for saying and all that, because sometimes it happens like that. It's because I've forgotten, what the keyboard shortcut is, because I hardly use, the shortcuts to teach people. So now I'll copy it by pressing Shift. Now this is what I did. I pressed W for the move tool. I press Shift, then I drag. So by doing that, you can copy, then I can copy it into 2 or 3. So I'm going to, just copy like that, and you can see I have this. In fact, it's supposed to be like around, 3 or 4. I think this is enough for that. So now that's one thing. Another thing you can do is you can use connector. Now if you want to learn how to use connector, just search for connector by Design Connected on YouTube. Maybe I'm going to make a video about it, but connector is a asset management library. You download a lot of assets and you arrange it. It's more or less like your Cosmos, but this one is a custom one. You are the owner of it. You arrange it the way you want. Cosmos is not yours. It is, coming from the software, but all of this now, are like yours. You download them one by one and you arrange them. You give them the thumbnails and all those things. So what I want to do, I want to quickly show you how I can bring something in from Cosmos. So let me go to Scenes, and I've downloaded some exteriors, you can see, and you can use them. So I don't know which one to pick, because I'm not going to eventually use any of them anyway. I just want to show you how you can import from Cosmos. So let's say I'm picking, hopefully it's not going to be heavy. I'm picking this, and all I need to do is to drag and drop. Now when you drag and drop for the first time, you are going to see this error loading connector script, runtime error, failure calling, traceback, and all those things. Just click OK and try it again. Sorry, I guess I picked this. Now you just click merge and place, and automatically you have this, and you place it, and that's it. But sometimes it's not that easy, because connector can be very, very funny. If your file is heavy, then it will take time to load, and it can take forever to load. So I'm going to show you another method that I use. Now I'm just rotating this building, trying to place it, to compose the image. I want to use it, but I don't want it to override the main building as well. So I'm just going to take time, compose it, look at the way it looks in rendering, then get back to it. That's just basically how I work on it. Now when you know that your file is heavy, another way to actually handle it, for example, now this looks like it's going to be a very heavy file. It might not be very, but it looks like it's going to be heavy. So instead of dragging and dropping like this, I'm just going to right click on it and click open. So it's going to open on another 3ds Max file. So let's wait for it. So now you can see here it's opening, and it's telling me this, that the file unit is the file unit scale is in inches, and the system unit scale that I'm using is in millimeters. So what do I want to do? It's either I adopt the file scale, or I rescale the file to suit my own unit, and that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes it might be that the file unit is in millimeters and my scale unit, my system unit is in inches, or any other one. So I can choose adopt file scale as well. It all depends. There's no rule to it really. It all depends on how you want it. So now it's still telling me that there is an obsolete data. I will just click OK, then it will load. Now it's warning me that this thing is using legacy pre version 4 medium for Corona, because this file was originally done in Corona. So I'm just going to switch and close. So now I have this file. Really makes sense. So all I need to do about it after I've selected it, of course I can change the viewport background to solid color. It's looking good. If you're having shadow like this and all that, and they can be very annoying sometimes because everything will just be dark. So all you need to do is to come to this standard and select that standard again. You can see. So I just did it one day and it worked. So since then I've been teaching people that whenever you have that problem, that's what to do. Now I'll select Copitor. I told you how to install Copitor. You use Copitor to copy from one file to another. So when you select the objects, if there are many, you will need to window all of them like this. And when you select them, you are just going to copy. Just click copy. It's going to copy for you. Where is it going? It is going to 3ds Max, folder in the document, and it's going to save it into auto backup folder here. So that's just for that. Now I can close it and come to my file, open Copitor here. You can see, and I'll just click on it and it's going to replace it for me, and I can position it how I like. So that's just for that as well. Now what I want to do now is to just right click, open a new 3D Max project and open this previous project that I've done. The reason I want to do that is I don't want to stress myself starting all over again because of time. So I'm going to copy. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all the elements apart from this building. So all the elements that I've done before, I'm going to delete them. But before I delete them, let me quickly talk about layers. So I press Control, I hold on to the control and I selected these 3 cars, and I can come to layer. Now layer is hidden here. I'll bring it out here. Normally it's because I imported 2 buildings. That's why I'm saying this. So I can right click on them and delete them. So if I select this once again, you will see that they are inside a layer, which is the default layer. There will always be default layer. Then you see this V-Ray series. It is the name of the file that I imported, which is the Revit file. So don't forget about that. So if I off this, you'll see that it is remaining every other thing that was created in Revit. So now what I'm going to do is I want to create a vehicle layers for this. So I can click here. I can actually elapse this and click on the plus sign. So it's going to automatically create a layer for me. I can name it vehicles. And that's that. I can off the layer, I can on the layer. Then the layer that is current is going to have this cyan color. So if I want to make another layer current, I can click and enable that. So now that I've done that, I can create a new layer entirely and name it vegetation. So for that, I can select all these shrubs and trees and put them into the vegetation layer. So how do I do that? I will click on this icon and put them. So I can off that layer to see what I have, and I can select this chaos scatter and put it into that vegetation layer too. I can do this and put it into that vegetation layer. I can select this camera and give it a new layer and name it camera. So I can create the sun and put it on, maybe I can select the sun and put it on maybe lights or something like that. The idea is you can actually organize your file and make sure that everything is the way you want them to be. So now this vegetation layer, I can enable it and say put this. So what I'm going to do is I'll on all these layers. I'll off the camera and the lights because I still don't want to change them. I've done them already, so I don't need to import them from another file. But I can delete all these other elements. So when I delete them, I can delete their layers too. I can select those two layers, delete them. So I have lights, and camera. What is here? So we have the sun target. The sun target, I supposed to put it under light, so I'll put it. Now the default layer has no elements. So that's the way it works. Now that I've opened this, I'm going to open the previous work that I've done and bring all those layers in, all those elements in, and I'm going to be explaining some things. Now the file is open. So what I'm going to do, I still don't want to stress too much, and I still don't want to copy everything. So I'm going to go to that layer and drag it out like this, and look, I'll remove the building, I'll remove the light layers, I'll off it rather. I don't want that one also because they are crucial for us. Then I started looking at every other thing, and I think the camera. So the camera is under this. I don't want it to, so I will off it. I will off that camera. So I'm looking at every other thing. I think I need them, and I need to just copy them. So I'll just select everything like this. You can see, and I can go to Copitor and put them into Copitor. The reason I did that is because I don't want to keep, wasting time talking about, how to import a building, how to do all that. So also, I deliberately want to show you how you can actually efficiently maximize the usage of Copitor. Now it has pasted everything that I've done. I've copied rather from there. It pasted it, and now I can on the layer for the main projects, and let's see the way it looks. You can see that it's basically the same thing that I did before. The cars are the same as well. Now it is here that I'm going to also be explaining some little things that I did that I think you need to know about. So you can see now. Now let's talk about this composition again. One of the things that I did was I looked at everything, and I feel like, okay, the sun is coming through this direction here, so I don't want the sun to be eating everywhere. I want it to look a little bit dynamic in such a way that there'll be trees around that are going to cast shadow. So I started positioning these trees, and I'm very, very particular about the way I want the shadow to be casted. If you notice around here, you will notice that the tree is actually, casting shadow around it. It is deliberate. Everything I did, I had to think about it. Okay, what do I want? How do I want to position it? And this place, these shrubs are quite open before. So I was just like, no, I don't want, a situation where the sunlight will be eating this too much. I just want them to be, like a guide to this. I want the building to be the focus, not the elements. So I try as much as possible to position everything accordingly. It's not, it's not difficult, but it's not easy as well, because you have to think that, okay, this is the way I want it to be, and You have to own it. Even if it's a mistake, you have to own it. You have to be the one that will determine what you want, and it's looking good. Now we need to sort some things, and I'll quickly show you what to sort. Number one is the overall exposure. So I don't want to talk too much about exposure. If you want to learn about exposure control, I've recorded a video, for a while now about it, and you are going to see it at this right corner here, so you can go and actually watch that video. It's going to really help you. So now I'm going to just click on this plus sign and choose exposure. Now under exposure, these are the settings that we have, and funny enough, when I was creating this, they have not added a lot of things like this, and they have removed something from the exposures too, but no problem. So let's do exposure. So we can increase the exposure of the image. Now I've not used this before, but I'll click on it to show the clip warning. See, when you are working with exposure, there are some areas that are too exposed, they are over bright, too bright, and they are going to be showing color. If you enable this, it's going to show you. Another way to check it is to come to view here and choose color clamping and disable it. But now I think this is far better because I don't need to waste time coming to color clamping, and I can just enable it there, and it's going to show me that, oh, this area is too exposed. So if it is too exposed, what can I do? Well, I can reduce the highlights. You can see, to take out the overexposure. And as good as this is, I'm still having overexposure here. So maybe I can still go down a little bit, but it's still, that blue is still there, so I can leave it like that. But I'm being careful about every other thing. So I'm okay with this. So now you can see the images, kind of coming to make sense. Another thing you can do is, now all these settings that I want to show you now, I didn't use them on this, but they are not bad. So you can push the shadow in a little. You can see that shadow, the black rather, in a little. So don't let it be too much so that it's not going to look fake. You can push this shadow too, so the shadow is going to be stronger. Now this is the first time I'm using these features because they are not as this much before. Now you can push the white up, even though as you are pushing it, you can see the overexposure again. So you will need to, here's that highlight, you will need to reduce. I'm being careful about it because I've not used this before. So that white, maybe I should just reduce the white. Maybe I should just put it on 0 that it was before. Maybe I should put everything back at 0 and reset it again. There should be a way to reset everything at once, but now let's push the shadow a little. I guess it's the shadow that is showing that black blue option. Then I can drag this one down. So the red is the overexposure, the blue is the dark point. So I'm seeing it now. So I push that shadow and the black. You can see now the darker area are showing blue. So, well, no problem. Then again, I have this the exposure here. I can increase, the white a little. It's just by playing with it to see what will work for you. But I think this is nice. So I can disable, this now. I don't have any problem with what I'm having here. Another thing I had is filmic tone map. Now this, you see what it's doing? It's actually helping to set a nice contrast that really look okay. And sometimes you don't have to set any other thing, just leave it like that. But in that particular image, I could remember I set the white points. I think I played with the white points a little. You can see. So maybe a little around 2 points. Something like this. So I played with that, and I don't think I played with any other thing, or maybe those strengths. But I don't need to do that again because the toe is like the shadow too. So I can increase the strength. You can see I can reduce it and all that, but I think it's on 0.003, 0.338 or thereabouts. You can see it's too strong now, and that's why I don't want to mess with it. So I'm just going to press undo again, so that it's going to be. Now, the reason I don't want to mess with it is because I've messed with the shadow and blackness here. So I don't need to do that here again. And another thing I will add, and I will stop from here, is white balance. Now, what's the work of the white balance? The work of white balance is to help you balance the level of cold and warmness in the image. In this particular image, I think it's a little bit warm because it's a daylight, setting, so it's a little bit warm. What I'm going to do is to reduce this value. By reducing this value, you make it a little bit cold. So I'm going to put it at 6,000, and you can see how blue is much more added to it, unlike 6,500 that we had before. So if I put it on 7,500, you can see how hot, we have much more of orange color on it. So I'm going to put it like maybe 6,200, and I'm okay with it. So here's where I'm going to be stopping. See you in the next tutorial. Thank you.